The Task Force to Investigate Terrorism Financing will come to order. The title of today's Task Force hearing is A Dangerous Nexus, Terrorism, Crime, and Corruption. Without objection, the Chair is authorized to declare recess of the Task Force at any time. And without objection, all members will have 5 legislative days within which to submit extraneous materials to the Chair for inclusion in the record. Without objection, members of the full committee who are not members of the task force may participate in today's hearing for the purpose of making an opening statement and questioning the witness. The Chair now recognizes himself for 3 minutes for an opening statement. I'd again like to thank Chairman Henserling and Ranking Member Waters for working to establish this important task force and reaffirming this committee's commitment to using its role to address the threat of terrorism, as well as my colleagues here today who will work to ensure its success. At our last hearing, we demonstrated the breadth and scope of terrorism throughout the world, as well as how these groups have evolved in the face of a strong American response. While the United States has seen some success in shutting these groups out of the international financial system, like squeezing a balloon, this has lent itself to the creation of more sophisticated and diverse funding avenues for these terror organizations. Terrorist groups have become entwined with transnational criminal syndicates, or in some cases evolving into the role themselves, engaging in criminal activities which yield greater profits than simply relying on state sponsorship or big pocket donors. These activities range from, but are not limited to, corruption, drug trafficking, human smuggling, and extortion. Place these funding methods on top of other non-traditional means discussed in our last hearing, and it's easy to see that today's terror organizations are often better financed than their predecessors even a decade ago. Today's terrorist groups and transnational criminal syndicates thrive in highly insecure regions of the world. Terror organizations contribute to the continued regional instability and internal conflict, while organized crime exploits these environments for financial gain and corruptive influence. To witness the impact of this dangerous union, the United States has to simply look to the tri-border area. This is a relatively lawless region along the frontiers of Argentina, Brazil, and Paraguay. It has become the base for Hezbollah's illicit activities to fund its terror operations in the Middle East and around the world. Hezbollah has engaged in several of the criminal activities mentioned, and through them has succeeded in raising a substantial amount of money to bankroll their actions. In fact, according to a 2009 RAND Corporation report, Hezbollah has netted around $20 million a year in this area alone. It is this type of connection, the intersection between terrorism, crime, and corruption, that today's hearing will focus on, including current techniques being used by these groups, effectiveness of the current U.S. policy in combating them, and where these tactics can be improved. Groups like Hezbollah, the Islamic State, and Boko Haram can no longer simply be considered terrorist groups. They've evolved into sophisticated global criminal conglomerates. In order to effectively combat such volatile threats, U.S. policy must evolve as well. That is the purpose for the formation of this bipartisan task force. And it's my hope that today's dialogue between our diverse group of members and the expert panel of witnesses joining us leads us to a better understanding of the challenges facing us and shapes our discussion of long-term solutions moving forward. This time I'd like to recognize this task force's ranking member and my colleague, Mr. Lynch from Massachusetts.